Greetings, weary traveler, come, warm yourself by the fire, and let us regale you with mighty tales, tales of adventure, tales of heroism, and of course, tales of Tamriel. I'm your host, Arkaniir, and we are back with an all-new episode. Joining me as usual, my two amazing co-hosts, starting with the man, the myth, the legend himself, LotusOfDoom. How's it going, Lotus?
Things are well, things are very well.
Always good to hear. Also joining us, the joy of the show, Giggle Queen herself, HyperPixie. How's it going, Pixie?
Going great over here.
That's as usual. Great. Also, you are coming back with another victorious story, I hope, this week. We didn't get to chat about that earlier, but I'm really curious to hear about all that. And this week is gonna be focusing a lot on tales, which, you know, seems fitting considering our show.
Yeah, considering the name.
Considering the name, yeah.
News of Tamriel this week, don't worry.
No, there's very minimal news of Tamriel.
The one bit of news we have is very important, though.
It is. I made sure that it's in the notes.
Before we get into all that, though, I have to give some shoutouts to our Patreons. Jondar, the Knight of DCN, and Zymergy, Solus Gaming, and Kinara, aka Starfallen Games, as the champions of DCN, continuing their support over at Patreon with the highest tiers we have. Thank you so very much, folks. You guys are allowing me to do this in a full-time capacity, and I really appreciate that. Also, we got some new patrons as well that I should have shouted out earlier, but I haven't been keeping up very good with my show notes. So that's CD Can and actually Pushing Pixels on Patreon. I really appreciate you guys as well, and everyone actually on Twitch, on Patreon. We may not be able to give name-by-name shoutouts because there are so many of you, and it is really appreciated. Thank you. That said, I actually don't know what the news is about, and Lotus just sneaked it into the show notes while we were in the pre-show. I went to go up at live. So Lotus, please regale us with the news.
So it's pretty straightforward, and I feel like Pixie's much more excited about this than even I am. However, just as a quick update, to anybody who was not aware of the existence of the companion game Smolder Scrolls online for Valentine's Day, it is a romance flash game that has been made, and it is pretty it's pretty fantastic. And as a benefit to Smolder Scrolls Online this year, last year we had the options of romancing Razumdar, Darian Gautier, and Naryu. However, this year we also got Fenorian and Evely Sharp Arrow. Yeah, actually, as brought up in chat too, what is it now? Because I thought it was a Flash game, but it can't be a Flash game now. So they just...
I didn't pay attention. Probably depends on what they're building it in, honestly.
Yeah, I get. Like, I was just under the impression from what... Yeah, I guess so it might just
really
be
just do it with JavaScript. Honestly.
Yeah, maybe it's just a JavaScript game now. That's a good point, because it can't physically be a Flash game anymore.
I mean, they could have even used like a visual novel template at this point. It's because they exist out there. You can just like slap on the text
totally
and it works,
free,
I guess.
As well. You just go to Smolder Scrolls
I had completely
online.
forgotten about this until you just talked about, like, I because it's Valentine's Day and the whole, you know, the entire week is sort of dedicated with the furnitures coming back and whatnot. I remembered the name of Smolder Scrolls. I forgot that they actually made it into a game, like a joke going full on. Serious
they
with
really
Zaz.
brought it all the way. And Pixie, I figured you wanted to discuss a little of this. I don't know if you got to watch ESO Live, where they...
I did. That's what I've been so excited to talk about. So on Friday, they had the ESO Live, and as a special little Valentine's Day treat, they coerced Taylor Sir, who wrote the thing, and Lehman Tuttle to and narrate these characters. And oh my god, it was one of the funniest things.
I thought they were just gonna show the houses, and I saw the houses on PTS, so I was like, I'm not gonna watch the CSO live. Had I known this happened.
Missed it. So Lehman played the part of Fenorian,
which was amazing. I
missed surprisingly
it originally.
Good voice actor.
I had to go back and watch the VOD because I was still at work. But once I found out he voiced Fenorian, I was like, okay, this I have to see.
I'll have to watch the VOD.
Great. It was amazing. And then, so it started out with Lehman voicing Fenorian, which had everyone just laughing like crazy. So Gina couldn't keep it together. Taylor was struggling to keep it together. I can't remember Jess's face because at that point I was in tears laughing so hard, and my 6-year-old was like, "What's so funny, Mom?" It was like it would take so long to explain this to you. And after they eventually like suppressed the giggles long enough to get through the story, they then flipped and Lehman narrated. This time he dropped the accent and like took on like adventure story narrator voice. So he like used a completely different like persona of sorts to do that. Like he did a spot on Fenorian. And then he switched to narrator voice to narrate the thing, and Taylor played Evely Sharp Arrow, which was just adorable. Taylor is adorable, and I love her. And the whole thing was just hysterical, and I loved it so much. I could not like walk away from my laptop the entire time.
It's I legit just thought they were gonna show the houses, and I skipped ESO Live and just played Valheim. It's
really worth it to go back and watch the VOD.
Watch it after the show here.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
I love their ESO Live shenanigans. Like there has been so many memorable moments from ESO Live over the years with them doing things like this. It's just see, a lot of the other companies should really follow the example of ESO when it comes to developer-player interactions. Like in a lot of long-term companies, long-term games or franchises like this, you really don't know who's behind the wheel, who, you don't have the names. And that personal connection of Elder Scrolls Online is one of the reasons why we have the community that we have right now. So take note, game studios, take note, follow example.
Yeah, and really with each of these ESO lives, I mean, Gina told us it seems like she's working with her best friends, and that really comes through anytime they do a live with anybody they bring on. It's obvious that they work very closely together and talk to each other a lot in the studio, and like that was just another example of it with Taylor and Lehman there. They all were having a blast, and it makes it fun to watch whenever the people you're watching are also having a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, Lotus, anything else regarding Smolder Scrolls?
No, I think our little spin-off game this week, as far as I know, that was all I could really find in news in general this week. We're definitely, what with the PTS taking place, that seems to be like the main bit where it's like, I don't imagine we're going to get much more news, so to speak, other than, possible stuff they're doing in the upcoming event when they announce it. But like, it seems like things will probably be pretty streamlined until the next event. And once stuff finally gets off BTS, we're kind of in a preparing for next drop of content cycle, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll have more stuff in the upcoming weeks. We should also be getting close to that Cyrodiil test too. Where there will be no proxets and things like that, which is going to be an interesting test. I
guess
I don't have a definitive date on that too.
So
I remember some like 15th. I saw something about it on Twitter mentioning 15th of
Monday?
February, which is tomorrow for me.
Yeah, so I guess that would make sense. Yeah, Monday. Okay, so it's confirmed. It looks like Monday.
Yeah. Okay. I don't. It wasn't an official tweet that I saw it, but yeah.
So not to play the console card here, but since we're not going to be getting this, it seems like we'll be continuing with our proc set disaster, which is fine with me, whatever. But the only gripe that I would like to say is you guys keep getting double AP for testing this crap. You know what I would like? Some double AP on console outside the events.
I mean,
you guys had 3 weeks of it last time they did testing, and you're going to get more of it now. Gimme, gimme, gimme.
So for somebody who doesn't PvP much but does heal a lot, going into PvP during the event and suddenly not being able to heal people outside of your group just made me feel sad. I wanted to help so bad. I saw these people dying around me. I was like, I can help you. I just don't know how.
Can you at least res them?
Also, Lotus.
Like if you use your,
I don't know,
you can. Oh, with the ultimate.
Would your necro res count as a heal?
I don't think so.
I
think you would res
try, honestly.
Okay,
it's technically not a heal, like
right. But I that was the thing. I just didn't know. Kind of like from just how things are coded.
Because I can heal people with the Warden heal. By the way, the Arctic Wind. Yeah, Arctic Wind heals people outside your group as well.
Really?
I don't know why. It does.
Lucky?
I was running around with my Warden during Mid-Year Mayhem, just spamming Arctic Wind under the gate, keeping people alive in the ram. So I don't know why it heals people, but for some reason it was. I don't know why it's a different skill, but yeah. I was still able to just drop like 15k healing ticks on people because it also scales off of your max health, which is I had like 55k health. So yeah, it was working. I have no clue why.
Don't question it, just love it.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. Also one thing, so we mentioned that we don't have much news and we are still talking about news, which is fine, but SD mentioned so interesting thing about Microsoft, Zenimax and Bethesda, which we are just gonna mention it, I guess, because we still don't know the details of it. No one really knows the details of it, but so apparently Microsoft is merging Zenimax and Bethesda, which Zenimax used to be the parent company of all things Bethesda, Zenimax Online Studios, ID, everything under Zenimax Media and everything under Bethesda, basically. So apparently Microsoft is merging them under something called, what was it?
Vault. I actually forgot about that. Yes, which I believe would just be a reference to Fallout. I mean, that's Fallout's thing. You leave the vaults to go out in the wasteland. So I could see it because one of the things that they've done, at least in other aspects, Gears of War, that used to be created by Epic, and then once Microsoft bought the IP, the studio that they put in charge of it was called the Coalition, which in Gears like story lore, it's the coalition of government is the army you fight for. So naming it after a thing in game that it's based on would actually kind of seem on brand, which is weird.
Yeah, I mean, so Kiz also in chat mentioned it's actually just merger management, not really unusual. That was sort of our thinking as well, because I mean, ZeniMax Media used to be a parent company with everything else being its subsidiary. Now all of them are a subsidiary of Microsoft itself. So to avoid confusion or maybe even like branding overpowering, so ZeniMax's or Bethesda's brand name overpowering Microsoft's, because I can really see that happening. I guess maybe they just wanted to just put them all into a different name and manage them in a single entity. But yeah, just wanted to mention that as well, because we had talked about it. We don't know the details, as I said. But yeah, just something to mention and put out there. In case you see it, don't be surprised. Also, I'm sad that they went with Vault and not something Elder Scrolls related.
Yeah, like
because
Scrolls.
I don't like Fallout all that much.
The only thing I can really think of that would have nothing to do with Fallout would be like, the Bethesda like logo, like the like gear looking logo. It could be like the twisty thing on the front of a vault maybe instead of just a gear. but it looks more like a gear to me than a twisty thing.
Maybe?
Because that was my first thought, was it looks like the door to a vault. Because I don't play
actually
Fallout,
never
so I just
paid
didn't think
attention
vault.
to that until you brought that up. Yeah.
Yeah. It really does. Because also, I mean, now that you say it, I mean, it's one of those things where it definitely does, because I think my subscription thing on my own personal channel is a vault door opening, and it literally just looks like the Bethesda logo going away from the screen instead of going onto the screen.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, should have called it Scrolls or something, not Vault.
Yep.
That would have been... Elder Scrolls is bigger than Fallout. Let's fight.
Let's fight about it. But yeah, that was actually a good point to kind of mention that. I forgot that was a thing, because I'm curious to see if that actually ends up becoming something they do. That'll Bethesda has a lot of name recognition, so that, I don't know, that's an interesting choice if they end up actually doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's as mentioned in chat, it'll probably just like boring legal stuff, marketing, and it is what it is. But maybe they just didn't want, as like, that's my theory in naming, at least like changing the entire name. I would just think, okay, Bethesda as a brand is just too big to just be a subsidiary of Microsoft. So maybe they just wanted, like, we'll just call this something else, so that it doesn't overshadow us while we buying them, I don't know. But
so the other thing that's kind of interesting, without going too much of a, business standpoint for reorganizing names of, subsidiaries, it's strange that id will still exist then. Because id Software, the people who make Doom and Quake, they never got renamed, and they're actually under the studio of them, but
they've never been a publisher, though. Like, they've always been a developer studio, but they've never been...
Because there's Bethesda Game Studios and also Bethesda Public. I guess that's true. That's condensing it down to, like, I guess that's a good point, because, they don't publish. They just create.
Yeah.
So is it just the publishing side of things? Like, are we still going to see Bethesda Game Studios?
Yeah, I wonder. They'll probably be Bethesda Game Studios, and then it'll be under Vault, maybe. This is all speculation, but instead of ZeniMax Media and Bethesda Publishing, because as is, when you explain that to people, it is incredibly confusing, where it's like, oh yeah, ZeniMax, ZeniMax Online Studios makes Elder Scrolls Online, but ZeniMax Media owns Bethesda, but
which
Bethesda
owns Bethesda Softworks and Bethesda Game Studios, which one is the publisher, one is the game developer.
Exactly. It's like, so it gets real messy.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, ZeniMax Media as a whole just used its own name so many times.
It really did. Shameless shout out to something on YouTube if you're ever looking for a background on this. There's a no-clip documentary called The History of Bethesda. It's like an hour-and-a-half long literal documentary. It's got Todd Howard and everybody in it. It's a fascinating watch, because it's their entire thing from like how they started up as a company. How Todd Howard apparently just was like, I want to work here, and walked up and was like, can I have a job? They were
I love that story. He basically he annoyed
the story.
ZeniMax into hiring him, and then became one of the greatest game legends of all time. Like, I don't know how much of it is true, but
like, how did he annoy them? Like, did he just keep asking for a job?
He's like, can I have a job? Can I have a job? Can I have a job?
Apparently, he just kept going to the studio. He just kept going there until they finally caved in and hired him. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's the story.
Yeah.
He basically went there all the time, and they finally caved in. They were like, this is getting ridiculous," and just hired him.
That's amazing.
No, I'm telling you, look up No Clip documentary. It's on YouTube. It's free. It's a pretty good series of documentaries they do. But yeah, they have a couple different ones on Bethesda based things like games and stuff like that. But look up the history of Bethesda, the No Clip documentary. It's a fascinating watch. So.
That's awesome.
If it's actually true, imagine the guy who didn't hire Todd Howard the first whatever many times, and then Todd Howard becomes the ultimate Bethesda legend.
It's like, ooh, I missed the photo.
And then you go back to meet him someday, and oh god.
Hopefully he doesn't remember me. But yeah, fascinating stuff. And there's the history of Bethesda in a nutshell, and why you should watch that.
That's definitely news.
Yeah. See, we had more news than we realized.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. It's like every week, though. I mean,
it's happening again.
No, it's again another 2-hour short episode. It was gonna be a short 1-hour episode, not short 2 hours episode. It's
all a short 2-hour episode.
Has there ever been a 1-hour episode of Tales?
In the last 100 episodes? I don't think so. I think the only 1-hour episode, or less than 1-hour episode in the history of Tales was when there were no co-hosts available and Agelos that just did a solo show. I think that's in 263 episodes, I think that's the only time Tales had less than an hour show. Which was just Agelos telling the news of that week because there was no one available. I think that's it.
Wow.
Someone will probably correct me on that though if I'm mistaken, but that's the only episode I remember. I don't even know when that was. All right. I think that's really about the news we have. So it's just some random discussions and a little bit of fun story about the history of Bethesda. That brings us to our tales. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go first because I didn't do much of Elder Scrolls. Mainly the reason being my internet for the last couple of weeks has been wonk. I haven't been able to stream properly. My ping has been all over the place in Elder Scrolls Online. It's been slowly getting fixed. So the last couple days, it's been smooth. I am also able to stream this at twitch.tv/Dungeon Crawler Network. Follow us here as well. But yeah, so the first week when Pixie cleared Castle Torn, we also went back in there, and I realized that I couldn't stream it because my internet has been out of wonk, and everyone's game just started going crazy. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was just my internet causing issues for the entire group, or if my lovely group was trying to make me feel better by saying their game is also borked.
I sent my minions, clearly.
No, that was in Mid-Year Mayhem. Yeah. But yeah, so we only got to try an hour of Castle Torn, which didn't go well. With all the ping problems, we got it down to less than 10%. I think Ugo mentioned seeing something like 6-8%. And then I forgot in the last phase that the boss doesn't come down. Because the boss was still flying, I was trying to see, instead of taunting the boss, I was trying to see ads to taunt, and the boss just smacked everyone else. And we wiped. No. So that was not nice. And then last week, we decided to take it easy. And we did March of Sacrifices hard mode, which is crazy easy, apparently. We just did it in 2 pulls. I always assumed March of Sacrifices hard mode was gonna be on par with what's his name? Moongrave Fane and whatnot. Turns out no. You just cult drops all the time and everything works out because the walls just slow the hell down and you can just run freely. So, go ahead.
The thing about that hard mode, which it seems very overwhelming the first time somebody like looks at it, because it's like, oh my god, there's like the shadow hunt phase. It's like, oh, there's so much like garbage flying around. Except for actual execute in March of Sacrifices, there is no burn test in that fight at all.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Which I actually like that hard mode quite a bit. One of the best strategies I always tell to people if they're struggling with it, or just trying to get used to it, it was shown to me by one of my guildies before, and what they did to get people just comfortable with the mechanics is when we would go into hunt phase, we would all run to the front door and just put up a barrier and casually walk around the arena together. And you can just do hunt phase at whatever pace you want. There's no stress. And then once it's wiped out, you just go right back to what you were doing. I was like, this is the most relaxed hard mode in like so many DLCs, which is great. Like I really enjoy that one. It's all about just like controlling the fight as opposed to burning through everything before you explode, pretty much.
Yeah, we just ran clockwise, hugging the edge of the map, and that was it. Like it worked out. We just had to pull 2 times. So it was a relaxing thing. But because we finished it so fast, we had mentioned this before, as the Untaunted wanting to do a role reversal. And because we finished March of Sacrifices so fast, we did that actually. So Luna, our healer, and me as the tank, we went DPS. And our DPS, Jen and Kitsu, went healer and tank. So I DPS'd for the first time in 6 years in Elder Scrolls Online.
Nice.
So I grabbed my Hunding's gear. Luna crafted me some Mother's Sorrow. I put on my dual-wield dagger and axe or sword, I don't remember. I put on my skills, and I got some practice done on a target dummy, the skeleton one. And guess what? What was my DPS on the dummy?
50k.
22k.
You guys. You don't know me at all. You don't know me at all.
11K.
I played this game.
I don't know what a good parse on that target dummy is.
I played this game for 6 years. And you guess 50k and 23k? Come on. I did a whooping 14k DPS.
All right.
It's a starting point.
So that's there you go. I mean, that's more than my tank does in his tank gear.
So, to be fair, you had such a huge smile on your face, I couldn't tell if it was comically low or like very, very surprisingly good.
No, I knew it was going to be comically low. Going from not weaving damage to then needing to learn what weaving
Lotus's
skills.
comically low guess was still like double the amount of DPS I did. His comically low guess was still a lot higher than what I actually did. And Jen is actually in chat, Snow Spray. In my defense, I did have a sword and shield back bar because I didn't have enough skill points to do anything else.
Oh, okay.
And I had a heavy hunting skill. So there's room to grow. I think I can go up to 20k with the proper gear and a proper,
also,
like a bow back bar maybe. We can add like 5-6k more there.
Was that the 3 mil or the
skeleton
6 mil
one,
or the
whichever is the skeleton one?
Okay, yeah. All right, that's better. That's better.
Oh, really?
Because because as long as you can control your sustain, you should have a bigger number on the 21 mil.
Yeah.
So if that was a 20
sustain,
mil,
definitely, yeah. I heard of interesting things like that. Yeah, like such things as sustain. I've seen the ancient people talk about it. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's all I did. It was 14k. We did crypto farts. I think we did something else too. I managed to do some damage. It worked out. I wouldn't want to use it in a DLC dungeon. That would just be sad and would probably take 7 hours. But yeah, so DPS for the first time in 6 years. Although I did worse than 90% of the pugs I ran with, but it is what it is. At least I was bashing. I still knew how to bash. So there's that.
If only we were still in the times of the necro bash meta where that was totally broken and you could just like bash for 8k damage with a necro in PvP. You could just do that and you would have probably had a great parse.
Yeah.
So Kiz is pointing out that with my crappy DPS, I managed to DPS Vet Castle Thorn, but I was also being carried by Kiz, who did the majority of the damage.
All details. You were there. You can't prove that they could have cleared it without you.
I did crystal frag sometimes, so that was good.
I think Jen and Kitsu, while tanking and healing, did more DPS than me and Luna while DPSing. I mean, Luna still knows how to DPS. Luna has DPS characters. She deliberately went with the character she plays the least to sort of balance with me, which was still like double or triple the amount of DPS I was doing, I think. But yeah, it is what it is. I can now officially join the DPS club.
There you go.
All it took was this. Had I known, I would have done it earlier.
Perfect.
Where's my medal? Oh, I want my DPS medal. Am I expendable now as well? According to Pixie?
No,
man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
So other than that, what I've been doing, I've been going back to housing. I did some housing, trying to finish Alpine Gallery. 600 item limit. It's rough. Zas, please. I mean, at this point, everyone's saying it, but I don't know if it's ever gonna change. Houses are too big for 600-700 items. You gotta change that, Zas. Come on. You know it's ridiculous. We know it's ridiculous. Let's do something about it. Give us medium houses. And I've also been doing a lot of PvP because I mean, it was the last week, but since I skipped the show, I was doing a lot of PvP and I was really enjoying my Warden in Cyrodiil in Champion Point campaign with what's his name? Teus Harbinger, Crimson, and various monster sets that I've been trying. I was generally going with Selene for extra damage.
Okay.
And it is so tanky. It's insane. And then Herudin in our Discord posted about necromancers. Basically zone chat screaming to not attack necromancers because people were dying. To like just 2 necromancer tanks in the castle. And I was like, okay, that's cool. That would be a play style I would like to play. And then Herudin the other day posted something similar again, and I was like, oh my god, it's happening again. People are just attacking a necromancer and dying. And I was like, And then it happened the third day, and Herudin was losing it. Like, he was very annoyed, very frustrated, and I was like, So I took all my gear from my Warden, put it on my necromancer, and it's dumb. It's stupid. It's idiotic.
So
you can turn on that Bone Giant ultimate, jump into middle of like 30 people, walk around for 15 seconds, and just walk out. And in the process, kill a whole bunch of people that are attacking you, because turning into a Bone Giant gives you extra 30k health.
Right.
You are running. I was with the correct setup. I was already running at like 55k health. I was at like 85k health as a Bone Giant.
You were a boss.
Teus Harbinger deals 7% of your max health plus whatever effect gets on it from champion points. Plus, if you are using Bone Shield, Spiked Armor, melee damage return from that back to the attackers. And pretty much all your damage skills, like the Reaper thingy, scale off of your max health. It deals so much damage to everyone around you just by blocking and using that Reaper skill. And you also keep healing back up because Crimson, because you're in the middle of 30 people, and Crimson heals you for the amount of damage it deals to everyone near you.
Oh my god.
For like 20 seconds, you are immortal while everyone else dies. Or at least everyone who's attacking you dies. And if they don't attack you, you just keep smacking them.
Yeah, then you can just smack them.
And then you just kill them. And if they attack you, they also die. And then what happens is, just like 2 seconds before your ultimate runs out, you pop a like immobile potion, run back to the keep or your group. If you have blood spawn, and if you're a Nord, if you have decisive weapons, 20 seconds later, your ultimate is back to full, because as a necromancer, you can, in Cyrodiil, you just keep sucking up souls, because everyone's dying around. In like 10-20 seconds, you are back to full ultimate. Pop Bone Giant, run back in, do the same.
All right.
Run around for 15 seconds, run back out. 10 seconds later, your ultimate is back. Go back in.
This may sound completely broken, off the rails, and wildly unbalanced. I want to figure out how to do this on my Dragon Knight because that sounds amazing.
Dude, it's so...
All this story makes me want to do is just find a way that I can do that without making a necromancer.
Thing. It's not broken. It's not OP.
Necromancer.
You know why? Because there is a super easy counter to it. Just avoid it. Just ignore it. Right?
Yeah, but people aren't going to do that.
Yeah, people don't do that. And they die.
No.
It's so beautiful.
Because the first way I attacked a necromancer.
Yeah, like I no, just telling people like, look, just don't, please, for the love of God, don't attack this person for 1 second. And it's like, no, absolutely not. I have to do exactly this.
You see people in zone chat screaming like, please don't attack the necromancers, please ignore the necromancers, and people yet do. And it's like, it's such a great exchange because I use my ultimate, run into their group, and as I come back, their necromancer runs into our group. And my group's like, our Zerg attacks that necromancer. He doesn't die either. There's like 30 of us just hammering away at him. His health doesn't even drop to 50%. And then he runs back before his ultimate runs out. And then right after him, I run back, doing the same. And we just chill between the Zergs. It's definitely not as useful as, say, just bombing 15 people at once with Vicious Death. But it's so satisfying.
Not my playstyle. Yeah.
It's such a... As a tank, in PvP, that was the most satisfying feeling I got.
That's why I was like, that sounds beautiful.
Like, technically, you are not doing all that much, but it is so satisfying.
Well, you're not doing that much. You're just giving all the other people the tools to kill themselves.
Oh, yeah. Like, people group up on you. You know, they're just hammering away at your feet because they are short now, because you are a giant. They're, like, stabbing your ankles that don't do damage.
That's how I live my life. But...
And then a well-placed Cold Harbor Fire Ballista hits right on you from your allies, and everyone around you just, like... melts down.
That's amazing.
Because they are nicely grouped up on you, trying to kill you, ready to get hit by like any siege weapon at that point. So I don't know if it would work on on the Dragon Knight, because the thing that makes this work on, because it didn't work on my Warden. My Warden is insanely durable as well. My self-heal is like massive, 20k per tick. But the thing is, 30k extra health, plus debuffing everyone around you, plus pretty much every skill you have as a necromancer also heals you. Plus you deal passive damage while in that form, which also heals you. It's the amount of healing you get is absolutely insane. What you could do with the Dragon Knight is Magma Shell. It would be similar effect, although you would still have... Yeah, it would be less effective, but nearly as much survivable, maybe. I would have to try. Maybe. But Magma Shell would definitely give a similar effect to it.
Yeah, but it's just like, oh, that Bone Goliath. Plus, you can do so much in that Bone Goliath, and people are just dying by being near it. It's like, oh, man. That's... Yeah.
And it looks cool.
That sounds lovely.
So, I wasn't going to try it. But then Herodin was like, freaking necromancers, and I was like, I was in the background like, yes, freaking necromancers.
See, I like the necro healer in PvP because I feel like I'm raising an undead army to take a castle for me. And I just go on a power trip, and it's great.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. And there's always so many souls that you can use in Serial because everyone's just dying left and right around you.
Right. Yeah, people are just exploding constantly.
Yeah. So, SD in chat says Ark is perfectioning his level of annoyance. That's the only thing you can really do as a tank in PvP, though. Be annoying. That's...
Yep.
Like, other than capture the flag in... capture the relic in Battlegrounds, as a tank, there isn't much you can do because of the way the game is set up.
Right.
Because even if you can tank the entire enemy team, 1v8, right? Even if you can tank it, in pretty much every single game mode, you are useless. Because you could be standing on a flag that you captured, not dying, but if there's 2 of the enemy, they will still capture the flag. All you can do is hold 1 people there, so, you wouldn't recapture the flag, so he waits around and hammers away at you. Now, it works in uncoordinated groups because, like, if they're not playing objective properly, then you can be very useful by just standing in front of their base, and every time they respawn, instead of going at the objective, they just start fighting you. And for like 5 minutes, they fight you instead of going around capturing objectives, which is nice. You can do that. But if they have a little bit of sense, they just ignore you and go on about their way, which is my Battleground Warden tank is a lot of debuffs, a lot of heals, and a lot of crowd control so that I can at least... basically just be such an annoyance that people die. I drain their resources with poisons. I drain their resources with, like, break free, immobilization, stuns, and whatnot. But, yeah. So, if you're playing a tank in PvP, be as annoying as you can be, and don't let anyone tell you not to be. Okay?
Yeah, I will agree with that.
Don't let people... make you drop being a tank in PvP by saying, oh, this is frustrating or annoying. That's the build. That's the way.
That's how, when people are so frustrated with you, they just leave you. That's when you know you've built your tank properly in PvP. Like, one of my favorites is, again, it's having Throvakin on just in Zergs. And it's just everybody's just getting, like, the tiniest little bit of damage from you, but they just can't heal themselves anymore. As your team comes in, it's just everybody's so frustrated because they just can't heal through that garbage. And if they don't have enough healers in their group, it's not like you can get heals from out of group, so you're just suffering this very slow, annoying death while you're getting steamrolled by all these other people. So it's like it's what you got to do. Make yourself very durable. And to be fair, if you can just be really annoying at key points sometimes, you can slow up a group of people enough that your team can flip a keep before they can flip theirs, which can make all the difference in some situations. Like, never underestimate the power of being an annoying ass when you're a tank in PvP.
This is true. Also, for anyone listening to Tales, here's a tip to win every captured relic. Make a tank build, run immobile potions. You cannot be bashed while having the immobile potion active. So you can just pop the immobile potion, capture the flag, and run 5 times and win. It's instant. It's
not
stupid.
Gonna. Yeah, and if you have the Ring of the Wild Hunt, it makes you even faster, so they can't catch you.
Yeah, I'm not the one to hold tactics to myself, because I really think this should change. Like, this should change. It is so stupid in my opinion.
It's not good.
As a tank, I can just pop an immobile potion, capture their relic, while 4 people are hammering away at me, use my spell wall ultimate so they can't knock me down with projectiles, measure expedition, and just run to my base. And repeat this every time my potion reloads. Like, what is that? It doesn't make any sense. That really should change. Even if you have no immobile potion, you should be able to get bashed, But
yes, but so whatever. We're gonna start getting real into PvP battlegrounds nitpickery, but the only side effect to that, which I do agree, because that is very weird, that is such a brutally efficient tactic. And like I say, if you don't care about a monster set or don't care about a necessarily complete, full extra set, put on either Snow Treaders, which just doesn't let you get CC'd, or you put on the Ring of the Wild Hunt, I think is the one, where you just fly across. It's like nobody's catching you. It's just not going to happen. And I know it's frustrating because other people have done it to me and I've done it to them. And it's just like, oh my God, this is insanity. The only thing about it, though, that I wish, but again, it's always hard to tell whether it's maybe my connection at the time or something. Sometimes the amount of time I need to interact with the relic before I actually interact with the relic, I'll just sit there jumping in place while it's like, press X to, grab the relic. And my character's like literally jumping on top and like the relic and like humping the thing. I was like, we just grab the relic. Like, what are you doing to it? So it's just like, but yeah, it's an interesting, you have very limited uses as a tank in PvP, but some of them are super amusing.
Off meta builds, man. They are the best. Well, yeah, that's about it. So next week I will have the V-Mall Tales, which is gonna happen soon, basically. Which is why we are, not doing a 5-hour show this time. Yeah, skin.
It's a really cool skin.
Oh yeah, you get the V-Mall skin if you beat V-Mall.
Oh really? I thought that was the hard mode.
Nope, just gotta be. Oh. That was back when it was easier to get skins. Yep, you just gotta beat it. It's actually, for high fantasy based, it's actually probably my favorite skin in the game, just because it looks like the Dramothra, and even though like it's weird for a Nord to be a Dramothra, so I don't like use it. It's one of the only ones that I was like, okay, this is actually like still that I always considered like as high fantasy as the game should get. I was like, oh wow, look at this thing, this is crazy. And now it looks super tame compared to some of the other stuff, of course. But like, I really like that, I always thought was, it looks really cool on like Khajiits, mainly because you fight.
I don't think I'll ever use it except to show off. If I,
I don't even.
All right, well, yeah, that's about my tales. So, Lotus, you have Battlespire tales, right?
I do.
Okay, you go last. Pixie.
So,
regale us with the tales.
I have tales of victory this week again. It's been a good couple weeks for me. It's
I know. Lovely.
So I'll start off with so Kiz and I had been planning this for a little while. He had mentioned potentially like getting VSS run set up with people from Discord, and I told him that's totally cool as long as he's the one who runs it and not me, because I don't know how to explain things to people who aren't doing exactly the role that I'm doing. So I don't know what the DPS and tanks are supposed to be doing in there. I just know tank pokes the dragon in the nose and he doesn't like that so much. So try not to die while we heal you. But so Kiz was raid lead, and us and a big group of people from Discord, including Maestro and Pylon, who were in there for the first time and got their skins, we ran VSS and we actually cleared it, and it was within the 2 hours that I had planned for it. I think it was like an hour and 45 minutes or something.
Nice.
With a few people getting their skins in group. Struggled a little bit on the Frost Dragon, just because I always struggle on that stupidly adorable Frost Dragon. But yeah, the Fire Dragon was no issue. We did take a little bit of time because two of our DPS, actually the other healer and the DPS They were a married couple, and their internet went down at random in the middle.
That
of it. So
sucks.
We waited on them, but it came right back up. So they were able to get back in and finish it with us, but it was just a little bit of waiting there. So it was probably about an hour and a half or so that it actually took us actively fighting and stuff. And it was just a really good time. And so that was Friday. I'm going to backtrack a little bit to Thursday, and doing that because Thursday and Friday kind of melted together as far as ESO stuff went. So on Thursday, the Soul Gem Society got together, and we were still trying to kind of set our time for a completion of Vet Frost Vault hard mode. Because Arkaniir, once he gets out of Castle Thorn, once his internet decides to let him get out of Castle Thorn, we're going to be going head to head with that hard mode, and I'm getting a head start. But because I'm getting a head start, Ark made the special asterisk by it. It's whoever like gets through it like the fastest whenever they do start it. So we had tried it last week and didn't quite get it, but we had gotten it down to 27%. We tried it Thursday and got it down to 23%, but we're still kind of struggling, just not walking straight into fire because that kind of hurts a little bit. And God, once execute starts, so I mentioned last week to Lotus that at execute, like the thing that took us out was the fire fan, and that I didn't even see the steam yeet mechanic. I think I got hit by it like one time and didn't even like see the pie slice thing light up, which is probably why I got thrown off the thing, because I apparently was not watching my feet. Well, this Thursday that just passed, oh my God, that steam RNG was just so bad. Like, there was a point where I would be stuck, like the fire would be like scorching my ass, and then the steam would be right in front of me, and it was too big to dodge roll through. So it's like, do I want to burn to death or fly off the thing? And then there were times where it didn't launch me off the stage. Instead, it launched me through the fire, so the fire killed me. Oh, gosh. So that was just lovely. I don't even know why I flew sideways, but it still killed me. So whenever I got hit by the steam, I was dead. And so it was just a nightmare. You can, like, if you're in the middle of it and you roll dodge, I was able to get out of it that way. But like, if I was at the beginning of it and I was too far to the outside, like because I'm dodging the spinning fire fan of death, then I couldn't like roll through it, and I was just screwed. But then, so I mentioned that we finished VSS a little bit earlier than planned. After VSS, I was like, well, I was still planning to stream for a little while, and I don't really want to go to bed yet. So Kiz mentioned like going to do a dungeon afterwards. Like, can I come? And he was like, sure, let me see who I can get. And then he's like, let's go try that Frostvault hard mode again. And so he brought Serena and Barry from a Discord server that he's in. And I was like, okay, Pixie, don't screw this up. Just don't run into the fire face first, and you'll be fine. And then first boss, I screwed up and died, and I was like, oh, this is just going to go well. I don't even remember what I did to die on the first boss, but it wasn't correct. Or maybe it was the second one. I died pretty early on. I was like, oh, this is just going to be great. Because anytime I run with new people, especially because like I had heard talk of Serena before, and I was like, okay, she's very good at this game. Don't suck the whole time, which just immediately makes me start to fall apart. So we get to the final boss like really, really quickly, because even though I died, like it didn't matter because I was just there for show at that point anyway. As far as like the first few bosses, I'm pretty sure I didn't even really need to be there until the final boss. We activate the hard mode. First time we get like, I don't remember if we got to the skeever phase the first time, or maybe we got to it and then died. But second pull, we beat it like very quickly. It was kind of shocking. I got like the best RNG possible with those steam vents. I don't know. It just all kind of clicked. Like nobody.
I feel like struggled. That's my first clear too. Was I was like, the steam vents didn't screw me. Hooray!
And like down in the Skeevaton phase, it was just like we were patient because that was an issue that I had before. So I told myself, okay, just whatever Kiz does, just follow him, because Kiz was the only one in the Soul Gem Society who already had the clear. So I was like, just follow Kiz at all times and you'll be fine. But then when we'd turn into Skeevatons, we all look the same, and I forget how to read whenever I'm streaming sometimes. So I would see somebody start to go, and I would start to go, and then all of a sudden I'd be on fire and dying because I thought the mouse I was following was Kiz, but it was really Bard. And apparently we were quite cold because of Frostvault, and we just needed to get a little bit warmer, and it killed us. And then we had this issue. So we actually do it a little bit differently down in the Skeevaton phase than Lotus told me he does it. So what we do is we all move as a group for the first two. So we go north first and then south, like all as a group. And then we split into 2 groups of 2. So it was me and Bard going west, and then Lego and Kiz going east to take out the last ones. Well, whenever I would be charging up, a spider would get on me. And then before Bard could turn and kill that one because he was still charging, another spider would come. And then as he's waiting on the cooldown from the first spider, there's already a second spider on me. And then there's a third spider that's now there. And so I would just get overwhelmed by spiders. So on Thursday, I found that the best defense is a good offense. So anytime the spider thing would happen, I would pop my go fast button and leave Bard for dead. And he was distraction for the spiders. And I could go and then pop the thing, and then I could res him once we got back out.
Wow.
I mean, the group name is Soul Gem Society, so it checks out.
It does.
They are expendable for you. Holy
hell! Got us to execute like multiple times, but it was just because like there was nothing else we could do. Like I even told Bard, "Sorry, Bard, I have to leave you now," because it's okay. I know.
The DPS of Soul Gem Society just accepted their fate. Like,
yeah,
I guess
every time. Yeah, that's pretty on brand, and it just plays like sad music as Bard is just slowly burnt away as a Skeevaton.
So on Friday, whenever we did it, though, like after we finished it, people in chat were like, "That wasn't like, why are you so happy?" I was like, "Because we just got the hard mode." They're like, "Wait, that was the hard mode? Like, how did it just die so fast?" And apparently, we had 205k group DPS between Kiz and Serena.
Yeah, I was gonna say, jeez,
it just melted. Like I was like, okay, I was used to like having to kind of plan out where I'm going to stand, and like I would take shortcuts to get in front of the tank and like drop things down in the tank, and then I'd be worried about the DPS because there was all this damage going out. The first time, I remember how we died the first time. The first time they damaged the boss so quickly that it spawned like 20 spheres.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
So I don't know.
The over DPS issue.
They didn't even like slow their DPS. They just started yeeting more of them off the side.
Yeah, that's the way to go. It's so much easier if you just chuck the spheres off than to fight any of that garbage.
Yeah, and so it was just like I remember like starting and like the arm fell off. I was like, oh, okay, it's time to roll now. Because instead of, I don't even know if this is a good way to do it. So like you guys might not want to do what I did, but I found that I was perfectly fine as long as there wasn't like an active fire blast coming out of the boss's mouth. I could just dodge roll like in front of the boss and just be over there instead of having to run around the long way, because it was really driving me crazy to run around the long way because I was really concerned about the tank. Because it's like, yeah, I could drop some heal over times, but God forbid the freaking Centurion comes and smacks him and he just doesn't get out of the way in time or something. So I just dodged roll, and then I dodge rolled, and I was like right there, and it was fine. I didn't die at all doing that. Even like on the Thursday run, I was able to just jump in front of them pretty quickly. Sometimes I'd go around the back. Like if there was active fire coming out, I would run around the back, but I was fine to dodge roll through it. But it just made it easier for me, so I just kept doing it because nobody yelled at me. And then the second arm fell off. I was like, all right, time to spin. And I just didn't step in fire. And I think, I don't remember if it was the first or second time somebody went down and I had to use my res, but I don't know. It was just like really smooth. And it's like, wow, I'm so used to just stepping into fire this whole time. It's a lot easier whenever I don't do that. I tend to stay alive a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's weird.
You should
Not
take
being on
notes.
fire extends life.
I mean, I probably should take notes, considering I really do like standing in the stupid. So.
Well, and the thing is too, because the thing died so fast, it made my job so much easier that I'm not used to not panicking as much. So, like for example, the fire fan mechanic, even though it happened, like it died so quick that it didn't become a problem really. Like I just hit him with a couple heals and the thing was dead, and I was like, all right, I guess this is how we're gonna do it. And so yeah, that's the strategy. You didn't even have to 3 necro with this one. You just have 205k group DPS and just don't step directly into the fire and you're good to go. Problem solved.
There you go.
So we did it in 3 tries total, like 3 like streams of it. So
Yeah, Kiz mentioned about 5 hours, I think, total tries.
yeah, that sounds about right. Because I think the first night it was like, once we got there, it was like an hour and a half on the last boss, and then the second one was like about that, maybe 2 hours, and that last one was like 30 minutes for the whole dungeon, 35 minutes for the whole dungeon. It was ridiculous.
Can I
never moved through a hard
Can
mode
I get
that quickly.
those two in EU as well and just get my clear out of the way by not doing anything? Or oh no, but one of them is the tank. Oh man. So I can't
No, Serena and Kiz were both DPS. Barry was the tank.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't want
the tank
Kiz.
was real good though.
I don't want Kiz.
Hear
I'll
that,
rather
Kiz?
DPS myself and suffer. Love you, Kiz.
Good luck getting the arms to fall off that way with the 14k DPS. That kind of hurts the whole strategy of have 205k group DPS.
Hear me out here. The arms rust off from age.
See,
that could work. Could work.
With my
the boss
14k
gets bored and
DPS,
dies.
I'll just wear down whatever the name of that boss is.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, the soul gem will
it's a
run out
construct. How long can it actually function? It has to have a source of energy, right?
Well,
it
it's
has
been
to
functioning
deplete.
since the dwarves disappeared, since the Dwemer disappeared.
Yeah,
So
it probably has like 10 years left in it. So with my 10k DPS, how much health does it have?
I don't know. A lot. Is it bad that I never look at how much health a
8
boss?
million?
No, I never
maybe?
look at them either because I don't do damage anyway.
I'm just like, I care about the amount of health my group has, not the amount of health the boss has.
So yeah, I mean it'll be fine. It'll be see, it's not a lot. It will only take me 2 years. That's fine. But yeah,
so SG points out that the Dwemer made things to last, and I want a car made by a Dwemer now because just how long these things just hang around in perfect working order.
It would be so uncomfortable though. Think about it.
That's true.
Like it's every bump. It would be like just getting stabbed by some rod.
You don't get gas. You just fill up your soul gems.
But yeah, I mean, if everyone is up for it on Monday, we might try Frostwalt as well and see how that goes for us. With my terrible RNG and my tendency to stand in the stupid, should go well. Should go well. I mean,
so are you guys moving on from Castle Thorn for right now, or?
Yeah, the thing about that is, I mean, we only get to run once a week if we get to run once a week, and Frostwalt is about to get nerfed in like 3 weeks.
Oh, right, yeah.
So we have to get in there before the nerf. At least give it a shot, you know? Even if you don't get the clear, we need to try it and cry a bit before the nerf. So yeah, we might just jump from Castle Thorn into Frostwalt just to experience it before it's, you know.
if you don't, I'm adding rules halfway through now, but if you don't get it before the nerf, then I think you just lose by default.
Oh yeah, pretty much, yeah. That's just given, because at that point there's no way to do it.
Make it even.
Make it even, yeah. Unless I solo it. With my 14k DPS.
I mean, you're in heavy armor, so you're tanky, so...
Yeah, there you go. That's
you
how I will
be
solo
on res
it.
patrol. Yeah. Think about it. Like, you're not getting as hurt as everybody else. So as long as you're not trying to res in the spinny fireplace, you just keep resing the other DPS the entire time, and you're good to go.
No.
You don't even have to do any
There
DPS.
won't be any other DPS. I shall do it all on my own with my 14k. I was just whirlwind my way through in 7 years. And
you
emerge.
Just bring your necromancer in there.
I mean,
do it with that. With your bone colossus.
Now that would require the boss to hit me so many times within 15 seconds for me to actually deal damage to it. The reason it works in PvP is because everyone runs around with like 16k health, and they hit you 2 times and they die. It's all those glass cannon builds. But yeah. Anything else, Pixie?
No, other than that, just tried out Valheim, which was really fun. But yeah, that was my Elder Scrolls adventures. It was just a lot of killing things this time.
A lot of success. All you had to do was get competitive all this time.
Right?
All this time. Your tales were like, we tried Castle Torn for so long, we tried Moongrave Feint for so long, all this, like, we got it down to 5% and then dropped. And as soon as we got into this competition, in 3 weeks, you clear like 4 of the most difficult hard modes in the game.
Right, you're clearing out the hardest ones.
I would see it was all a setup. I was hustling you the entire time for
there it
to
is.
struggle in these.
Throwing me into a false sense of security.
Yep.
Good thing I didn't bet on it.
That's what I was about to say. I was trying to lure you into placing bets, but instead you just used those crown crates that I would have won to try to pay off my group instead.
Yeah. They didn't take the bait.
Well, they took it, but then they didn't do what you wanted them to do.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh, free crown crates. So you tempt them with the crown crates, and then if they fail, then you give them the crown crates. You don't pay them in advance.
No, but then it wouldn't be fun. That's the whole thing. I have so many crowns.
Give me the crown crates.
Might as well gift them around. I don't know what
to do. Might as well bribe people.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah, it's just.
I take bribes too, just so you know.
Nah. I mean, if anything, you cleared the Frostvault without the Soul Gem Society, and Kiz doesn't count because no one likes Kiz. So it's.
Love you, Kiz.
Are you about to say that it doesn't count that I cleared it because I wasn't with my normal group?
Oh no, I never challenged your group. I challenged you.
Oh.
So
see, I told Kiz earlier, I was like, watch. He's going to say it doesn't count, and I have to go back in there with the Soul Gem Society.
Like, if we had done this sort of like Soul Gem Society versus the Untaunted, which the Untaunted never signed, like it did, since we challenged each other, I don't care who you clear it with. So
I kind of just like signed.
It is
my
what it
group
is.
up
I'm not gonna be a. Oh, I don't know the word.
Tyrant?
No, like ruining the fun. The person who ruins the fun.
Stick in the mud?
Fun ruiner. There's gonna be you guys, English should have a name for this, right?
I know we have names for literally everything.
Yeah, there's Killjoy. Is that?
Yeah, Killjoy is actually, yeah.
Oh,
Debbie
okay,
Downer.
there you go. Yeah,
I'm
not a Killjoy. I guess, if that's the word. Anyway, Lotus. Metal Spire.
Well, that's enough success. How about some failure? So, I will do my very brief. I have almost no ESO
Party
tales.
Pooper too. There you go. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's another one.
All the words I was looking for. Thank you.
Perfect. So the only thing I really did in ESO, which is not successful at all, here, is last night. A couple guildies were just kind of looking for something to do, and it's one of my trials teams. So we were just like, hey, what can we do that would be interesting? And I, of course, was like, how about VCR3? And yeah, nobody liked that idea. Because there were like 4 of us. And we were like, that's a lot of people to pug. So instead of that, we were like, what can we do with 4 people? And we decided what was an achievement that all of us could have used. And we came to the achievement of, it's called Strangling Cowardice. And
Strangling Cowardice.
Strangling Cowardice.
Right.
Which, for anybody who doesn't know what Strangling Cowardice is, you need to do Vet Moonhunter Keep on hard mode while killing 7 stranglers and never making either of the dogs cower from damage.
So you just let the dogs loose all the time?
You have to, yes, they have to stay up the entire time while you specifically kill 7 of those stranglers that pop up around the arena. And the issue is mainly the hard mode problem, because you get the extra werewolves, the even more obnoxious fear effect from that place, and you have the lightning, you have the shock wardens that come in, and the bane of our existence in the end was also playing the Simon Says mini game at the same time.
Yeah.
So we didn't do it.
An achievement that Lotus just didn't do. Interesting.
We failed. We failed at it. We not for lack of effort. We were at it for about an hour and a half. So shout out to one of the DPSs. I actually forget his tag. I had never run with him before. He had never cleared Vet Moonhunter Keep, period. He's on the trial team, so he's trial experienced and everything like that. He's a good player, but he had no idea what was happening, period. And we were like, you'll be fine. And he's like, I've never even done this on Vet. Like, what? We're like, you'll be fine. He's like, but how are we going to do hard mode if I've never seen it? I was like, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
You guys tricked that poor guy.
Yeah, I don't know if he's ever going to run that place again. He did get a lot of achievements on the way up to it, though, like, obliterating the wizard's phase, because we just did none of them. So he technically got all of them correct because he didn't get any wrong, is how the game calculates it. But the weird part of what we did is we did this with 2 tanks and 2 damage. That was how we ran the dungeon. Because we needed somebody to be able to soak the abuse of the dogs.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
And we needed me to grab the wolves and the main thing. I forget her name. Vicosa, I think, is her name. So we didn't have a healer, but we also didn't have an extra DPS.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so we had to do it basically with 2 tanks, and we could get it to color phase. That was how far we got it. And then it was just a nightmare. It was kind of a nightmare as is, but the real problem with that fight, and what we actually kind of want to try it again at another date, was one of the huge issues is you're constantly getting feared, which is annoying, because even if I were to use like a immovable pot, she fears, and then the wolves yell, and then she drops the fear totem, and it's like, okay, this pot wore off and you're still throwing so many fear things at me. Like, eventually I'm going to get feared. And if you get feared and heavy attacked at the same time, you're roasted.
Yeah.
And the bigger problem, which we got some stellar clips, was those dogs don't work so great if you don't ever kill them.
No.
Oh, God.
They get a little weird, as most people who've done Moonhunter Keep period know. What they're tethered to these chains, and trying to control them gets a little strange. Oh my God, if you try to just do the whole fight without ever touching them. They were just Superman diving across the arena every now and then and just popping people out of left field, which was very interesting. My favorite one was I was in the middle like holding the Vicosa, and I was grabbing aggro on the ones dropping in. One of the DPSs was on my left, one of the DPSs was on my right, and the red wolf just Supermans in from out of right field, lands on me and brings me down to 0.5% health because I was like, okay, apparently I got heavy attacked at the same time. The two DPSs on opposite sides of me both died of her heavy attack.
Oh God.
And I'm like, what? That's impossible. But they both had their logs. They both died to the same attack when it bit me in the middle of them. So
oh my God.
We're not really sure who it actually attacked when it did that. But that wolf was really, really unstoppable. Her DPS was on point. But yeah, so the problem was we just couldn't. The bleeds get pretty bad in the back on the off tank for the dungeon, I guess you'd call it. But like that was manageable. The problem was once the wardens came out and we needed to start doing Simon Says, we had one happen where we only had 3 of the colors and we were trying to find the screwed up one to hide, which was problematic. But the issue that we ran into was clearing the ads during that phase plus killing the wardens as well. We would unintentionally kill one of the dogs because there's just too many things running in front of each other. So that was where we basically had to call it and be like, okay, we need to just
I was gonna say
come back to this.
That's a nasty achievement. I mean, that hard mode in itself, we got it down to, I think I have it, like,
yeah, I don't like
from
that
back
part.
when it launched, but like we went at it again with the. Actually, we might not have it from when it launched either, because I think we ran into the same bug that we ran into with the Untaunted.
With the only
no.
Oh no,
lights.
You had the one where you even stood in. Yeah, there were no.
Yeah,
that's right.
At 14%, we are at full health. All of us are alive. We have our ultimates and stuff. We are ready to just nuke it down. I have my ultimate. I can hold everything. I have caltrops to slow down the wolves, and everything is in place. We go into our lights, and lights just disappear.
Yes, I remember I remember seeing that video where it was like, that's not the bug I was aware of. Like, because sometimes
died, and we were like,
missing
yep,
is a problematic.
No. We just left. So I mean, I did send it to Finn with the video with as much information and explanation like as I can put in there. Hopefully, whatever's causing it, they'll figure it out. But at that point, it's a nasty bug, and I really want to go back there to get the clear with the Untaunted. But if it happens again, it's just
yeah. Well, so much like Frostvault, next patch, that place is getting nerfed into the ground.
That's why I want to do I consider myself
just all around.
Even if I don't have it, I don't remember if I actually have the hard mode in Moonhunter Keep, but I consider myself that I have it because on multiple occasions, I got it down to like below 15%. On multiple occasions, that shape, light, whatever bug got us killed. So it's I just consider myself as I have Moonhunter Keep hard mode because that's it's a frustrating bug.
To be fair, I think this achievement, if we try it again before, we'll obviously be dealing with that. But if we don't clear it before it gets patched, like if we don't have time to group back up, because I've never run with most of these people, if we don't group up to run it again or whatever before it's patched, one of the things that makes it so much easier is I guess they're removing the bleed damage from the wolves.
Yeah,
when I mentioned that, the off tank was just like, that's literally the only thing doing any damage to me. I'm like, I know. He's like, okay, well, if that gets changed before we come back to this, I'll just pull all of the ads and you can literally just stand there with Vicosa. Like I'll have nothing to do back here. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah. But it's also extra insulting that it's worth 5 achievement points for pulling that off.
What?
You're doing all this for 5 achievement points?
Just do housing or something to get your 5 achievement point. What?
I already have every achievement for housing. There's no more left.
I don't know. Jump off a cliff. Die to
I've done that one too.
fish.
I have
It's
those.
not worth
I'm running
5
out of things to
achievement
do.
points for that abuse. That's the
Sick.
least cost efficient freaking.
Yep. It's not a great way to spend my time. So that was my ESO failure.
My favorite comes.
And
this is
now,
the better failure.
I was going to say, for advanced failure, I went back to Battlespire and had my second session of Battlespire. On a high note, the game didn't crash, so that's something.
To just clarify for anyone listening for the first time, he means Elder Scrolls Battlespire, the original 1990-something game.
I believe it's 1996.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah. Yep. It is the Elder Scrolls Legend Battlespire. And yeah, didn't crash the game this time, so that was a step in the right direction. There were a couple high points. The music is still so awesome, and to everybody who comes by the stream, it's pretty much universal that everybody loves the music to that. So it's oh man, it's so great. The audio in general is a little interesting, as the dialogue in this game is just completely ridiculous. I had mentioned that you're allowed to talk to pretty much anything, and it seems to hold true. They sometimes tell you to screw yourself, like they'll just sneer at you. I believe one of the creatures hissed and spit at me rather than talking to me, which I thought was quite rude. But I needed to get a key at one point, at which point a scamp told me that he had placed it up his ass. Why don't I go get it? Which I thought was quite ridiculous.
That was amazing. Like, that scamp is the best character.
And the scamp's voices as well just make it like
they're ridiculous. And oh my god, yes. It's really hard to give a proper explanation as to some of the sound effects, but other than that, the other note of anything that I feel is worth specifically pointing out audio-wise is I finally ran into Dramoris. So I hadn't really seen anything but beyond like a couple of the low-level characters. And I finally bumped into Dramoris, which talk in a snooty British type accent, so they sound like aristocrats, which I thought was quite strange. But their voice is very soothing, which is strange. But the main thing is, in contradiction to their soothing and rather hoity-sounding dialogue, their screams when they die are some of the most ridiculously over-the-top death sounds I've ever heard in anything ever. It's just completely off the rails. And they're really adept at magic, which is great when a game has terrible clipping, like this one, and they can do self-harm. So my current strategy is to just run up to them so that when they hit me with a missile, it basically blows them up. And then they scream horrifically and die. And it's great. So that's pretty much all the high points of what I had done. I made it. Well, I'm still on level 1. I actually have not cleared the first level. We're about 5 hours of streaming this game. And I still am in level 1. I had to cross some rickety bridges to try to find my way around, which is where I found the jumping. And I thought jumping in Arena was rough because in Arena, if you hit J, you jump. And if you hit Shift and J and aim in a direction, you jump forward, which I was like, that's not great. This game, when you hold jump, which is the Alt key, an upside down pyramid marker comes out of your character screen going forward. This is in first person, like all the other Elder Scrolls games. Comes out of your character. It kind of looks like an ice cream cone, and it just goes in this like slow path forward. That's apparently where you're supposed to land, from my understanding. And you need to let go of the Alt key and it will stop, and that's where your character jumps. The problem is, if you touch anything while you're jumping, you seem to just drift in weird directions. Or, I don't know if it's because my acrobatics kind of sucks or whatever. Sometimes you don't really make it that far, which is real problematic. Because if you jump and you land at a weird angle, you just get stuck in the floor and you have to reload the game.
Oh, God.
Wait, you have to reload the game?
Oh, yeah. No, you have to reload the game. Like, you're done.
Just like reload a save, or like.
So the problem is with this game, much like when I die, there's no reloading. Just like when you die, you figure, oh, you go to the start screen. Nope, it goes back into DOS box and reboots itself.
Oh my God.
That wasn't me. Like that weird DOS prompt that kept coming up. That was the game just restarting itself every time I died.
What?
So I don't know why it does that. And if you try to jump, how can I explain this? So there are jumping puzzles. Other than the rickety bridge, it started to get to the point where I needed to then start jumping on like rock cliffs. And what happens with the rock cliffs is I would jump onto these like moving platforms, and I tried to get to a lower platform, meaning I need to like jump forward because it was a little too far to just walk off and land on it. So I needed to jump a little forward. But for whatever reason, when you jump to a lower platform as opposed to a higher platform, your character just really goes for it, like real hard. And instead of like the smallest jump I could do, I straight up long jumped off the fucking cliff and right into the lava. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. There's no in between with this jumping system. It's all or nothing. So I boiled to death in lava, I don't know, a bunch of times. You get this weird death thing that I believe I mentioned the first time when I talked about this, where it just shows it's a sweet FMV of your skeleton down in a prison, and it says good. The good news is you're alive. The bad news is you never see anybody again, and you starve to death down in this prison cell. Which, beyond me going over the fact that it seems like if I starve to death, that negates step one of the good news, me being alive. That aside, if I fell into lava and boiled to death, who fished me out before I died to then put me in prison so that I would then starve to death instead? Wouldn't the lava be sufficient? Like,
probably the scamp with the key up his bum.
Perfect. So,
at least you don't continuously hear, "You're a fool to confront me."
That is true. There's much less insulting dialogue from Jägerbomb Tharn. So yeah, there's me blundering around trying to figure my way around the map. I wandered aimlessly for an irresponsible amount of time just trying to figure out where to go, because I had connected the mooring and everything like that to reattach. And I thought that was what I was supposed to be doing, but maybe it wasn't. And then I started trying to find secret doors. I believe it was Mechafishy who suggested that maybe it's like a puzzle, like maybe you don't shut all the mooring locks together. No idea, but for some reason I got through a secret door that I thought I had checked before. So no idea what the deal was with that. But at the same time, I found the secret door, got through, rummaged around a bunch, and I just died so many times. And I eventually just ran out of time. Still on level 1, haven't progressed, learned how to jump. That sucks. I got a sweet, I've been getting some new equipment. I still have zero idea what, I just keep picking up the letter D. Like there are just these symbols and there's just Daedric letter Ds everywhere. I don't know. They seem to just do random things, but I don't know. Couldn't figure out what to do with it. There was the clip that people pointed out where I actually figured out how to read on stream. I thought my character was illiterate. I thought all those things were just there for show, but it turns out that if you use your plus cursor, which we didn't understand what that was, but if I hold enter and move my cursor over the thing to then interact with the poster, as opposed to just walk up to said poster and click it, that's no good. My character's illiterate if I try to do that. However, if I hold enter, then try to click it, I can read what the posters say. So that's a plus, I guess. Obnoxious is another good way of putting it.
It's a secret deciphering technique of the Imperial Battle Mages. That's why. Also, I just realized, like, I really need to get like a Elder Scrolls Classic Tales scene set up, because anyone who joins the stream after Lotus starts talking about his Elder Scrolls Classic Adventures is probably like, plus cursor, D everywhere, scamp with the key up his bum. Where in Elder Scrolls Online does all this happen? It's
yeah. The I don't know. The classics definitely are an interesting beast. Hopefully I should be able to stream it again this week. Ideally, I'll get out of level 1, but I have no idea what the hell is going on. On the bright side, at least we determined that fist fighting looks more like the joke of your like uncle or something trying to be like, oh, I got your nose. That turns out that's more of what it looks like when I'm fighting things. Rather than actually punching them, I'm just taking all the scamps' noses or something. So on that note, it looks like my fist fighting is getting better because it's noticeably doing more damage, and I suck.
Playing with the character that you created who can't use any weapons or anything like that.
Yeah,
Perfect.
No, I'm not allowed to use weapons in this game.
Have you considered that might be why you are still level 1 after 5 hours?
I'm doubling down on it. I am doubling down on this. I will do this. Well, the problem is I don't even know where the exit is. I thought I found the exit and I lit on fire. That was what happened when I tried to go to it.
That's just lovely.
Yeah, there's this giant pillar of light right near the start, and it's got a Daedric letter Z, and I was like, oh, this looks like the exit. So I walked up to it, and my character just screamed and died, and I was like, all right, well, that's not the exit, I guess.
As soon as you said I couldn't find the exit, I was going to suggest, like, what about the light that was at the entrance?
Yeah, no, I tried that. Burnt me alive.
Did it give any explanation as to what the light was, or are you still...
That is beautiful.
You just don't know?
I just assume it stands for Z because there's a Daedric letter Z floating in front of it. I'm not allowed to touch the letter Z. It's just hovering there. No idea, but...
Maybe if you collect enough Ds, you can annihilate the Z.
That seems as logical as anything I could come up with, to be fair.
I mean, if dragons are cats...
Oh God, it's happening again.
Vet Sunspire proves that dragons are cats because
there was a lot of dragon catting
in the same place.
But yeah, so that's pretty much all I managed to accomplish, which the too long didn't read version of that is I blundered around a whole bunch. I found a cape. I guess that's something else of note. I'll post what my sweet new character looks like. I now have a cape. It does nothing. I don't know why it's in the. It has no stats. It weighs 3 pounds, so I can carry less because of it. But I now just refuse to take it off because it looks ridiculous. So I got that. I got it's good. The fashion scrolls is strong with my character. But yeah, I'll be streaming it again, ideally sometime this week. I would love to get out of level 1 and figure out what the hell I'm doing in this game. But yeah, that really remains to be seen. And yeah, that's pretty much the synopsis of what I didn't accomplish in Battlespire, because it did not go well.
I'm so glad there are so many other Elder Scrolls Classic games that will get to hear a lot more of this for a long, long time to come. It is beautiful.
Yes. I was a little nervous, I'm not going to lie, that after Arena, that Battlespire would seem easy. And I've just been pleasantly surprised this entire time. It's been wonderful to watch.
It's been worse and it's beautiful.
I was going to say, maybe it's just because after, I have this weird Stockholm syndrome for Arena, but Arena really doesn't seem that bad in hindsight. And I died 500 times in that game trying to figure out what the hell I was doing.
Oh, beautiful. All right. Anything else you guys want to add?
I guess I could just say it now. For anybody who didn't see it on Twitter, I was provided it's not a code. He's going to gift it to you. So, on behalf of David from the community, he's going to provide an Xbox version of the new upcoming expansion of Elder Scrolls Online Blackwood. So I'm going to give that away on my stream tomorrow. I'm going to be streaming some ESO tomorrow afternoon. The giveaway will be at 5 p.m. I personally don't care if you follow me or any of that garbage. It doesn't matter. It's just a way to give back to the community. So if you have interest in an Xbox One or Xbox Series X, an Xbox version, because I don't know how the distinctions work. Yeah, so if you have an interest in the Xbox version of the game and would like to possibly win a copy of Blackwood when it comes out, just stop by Lotus of Doom on Twitch tomorrow, right around 5 o'clock. I'm going to do the drawing. All you got to do is stop in and I'll put up a code that people can just type in and it'll enter you into the drawing. So, yeah, if you would like a copy, feel free to stop by tomorrow and hopefully you can, win something.
Well, now I'm thinking whether if I'll be able to get this published before that. I'll try.
A surprise for those of you who listen to the live version.
So yeah, this might be sort of like a live audience specific announcement, but I'll try to get it out. But I have VMOL to tank, so I don't know how.
Right. Yeah,
how that's gonna go. We'll see. And
I was going to say, if you miss this one, there'll be other stuff I'm sure we'll be giving away. We always do, especially for Extra Lifetime and stuff like that. We get lots of good stuff. So.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I guess where can people find you as well?
I am Lotus of Doom on Twitch, like I mentioned, and you can also find me over on Twitter. And if you need to message me on Discord, I'm Lotus of Doom there as well.
All right. And Pixie.
You can find me on Twitch at HyperPixie Gaming and on Twitter at HyperPixie Games.
All right. And definitely, folks, go follow these people for a lot of Elder Scrolls content. And obviously, Lotus for the classic sufferings. And Pixie, in case you missed it, is actually one of the official stream team members. So go check her out. And yeah, she has a lot to give back as well in terms of codes and everything that comes with being a stream team member. So, phone, calm down. What the hell? You can follow everything we do as usual over at dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. There you can find links to all of our social media, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Discord. Be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/dungeoncrawlernetwork if you want to help support the show and keep our metaphorical torches lit. You can also leave us a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we're a real podcast, that we say real words, and sometimes it matters. Thank you all so very much for joining on this episode of Tales of Tamriel, and we will see you all next week. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
See you later.
Akatosh slew Lorcan, he ripped his heart right out. He hurled it across Tamriel, and the heart was heard to shout, red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. The laughing heart sprayed blood afar, a gout on Seer it fell, and like a dart shot to its mark down in an alien well. Magic effused the Lorcan blood to crystal red and strong. Then wild elves cut and polished it down to Chimel at a ball. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. When elves lost Nirn to men, Akatosh gave the stone to Saint Alesh in token of her right to sit the throne. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. Red diamond, protect us till the end.